Hello, everyone. Welcome to HypnoTalk. I'm Troy Parkins, and I am here with
Janna, your friendly hypnotherapist.
And I heard that you were on the beach this week.
I have been on the beach a lot this week. Various beaches, yes.
Very fun. Very fun.
I think the time you're referring to, I was sitting there waiting for my son to get out of the water. He was paddling. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you became very present, which is the teaser for this episode of HypnoTalk. I love your 2-minute Instagram videos. I told you that, and I told everyone out there, everybody out there, follow Janna on Instagram. Amazing. You give tips and really good videos.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So today we're talking about presence, and I do like the color, by the way. You're very aqua today.
Yes, I'm always some variation between this color and something lighter. This is, I think, my favorite though, the light aqua. And so are you. You're kind of in the.
I am kind of. I think we were in the zone. I think we were in the zone when we picked out our, Yeah. The only thing better is if I was actually at the beach right now. I'm looking out the window, which is very sunny. But if I was at the beach right now, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, the beach was great, and it's like the bane of my existence that I'm always either in the water freezing my ass off at the beach doing an ocean swim, or I'm sitting there waiting for somebody else to finish some sort of ocean sport, and I thought, I'm going to meditate. I was the only person on the beach. The day was spectacular, and so I did. I meditated. I set my timer on my phone. I always set my timer on my phone for 30 minutes. And, the more that I've studied meditation, the more that I realize that if I want anything good to come of it, then I don't go in meditating on a problem. I don't go in meditating with an intention. Now, when I hypnotize somebody, I put them in a similar brainwave state, and we certainly have an intention, and I have a guided thing. So for me, it's hard to break myself of that habit. It's sort of like, okay, this has to be productive time and we have to get something done, rather than, no, that's not it. And so it becomes a very awkward, weird, strange thing to drop thoughts rather than to follow thoughts. And I'm starting to get really good at it. And that day I started off super struggling. And by the time I was done, I was like, okay, I've reached nirvana now. Let's go. I had such an amazing meditation that day. And then I gave the little 2-minute hypno spiel.
So that inspired it. Very, very cool. And that's perfect then, because I do want to talk about this. And in my travels, as I said, I do meet people who have watched your videos and listen to you on Instagram, and they do have this question about presence. So let's just dive into it and tackle presence, which is a big topic. Yeah. So what exactly does presence mean?
Okay, for one thing, had I but known that it was as magical and could fix real world problems as it is, I would have run with my hair on fire toward it a long ass time ago. Up until recently, I thought presence was the most boring thing in the world. There's nothing more boring than losing one's drama. I mean, come on, me lose my drama? You got to be out of right? Like, why would I want to do that?
And then you can't play victim anymore either. If you lose your drama, you can't be a victim. That means you get to be responsible. Oh, right. No.
Well, you can't like talk behind people's backs. I mean, there's so much that presence takes away that I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. Right. Are we allowed to drop F-bombs on this show?
I don't think YouTube will censor us. We're fine. We're 18 plus. This isn't for kids.
Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, you asked what is presence, and if you if you're fully, there's degrees of it. It's like, okay, I like to look at it like the difference between being asleep and awake. If you think about a dream you had that was really vivid, it could be a long time ago, right? A really emotionally charged, vivid, realistic seeming dream. And then there's been moments in some of those dreams where you might have thought, God, what if this is just a dream and I'm freaking out for nothing? But you're not sure. You're not at the level yet where you're absolutely convinced. Now, I'm one of those people that if I'm asleep like that and I'm dreaming, I'll be like, okay, I need a guarantee that I'm actually dreaming, because if I start to act like this is just a dream,
And it's
that
not.
monster over there is going to come and rip my throat out. So I better get this, whether I'm awake or asleep thing, proven up front. And the problem is when you're asleep like that, there's no proof. You can think, yeah, chances are there aren't any three-headed monsters in reality, so I may actually be dreaming, but I don't know.
But you really never know.
You really don't know, and there's always that doubt, right? When you're asleep, like this could be real, and then I'm really screwed. And then there's a level where you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm dreaming. But you're still scared. And you're not sure you can wake up. And then there's that, I'm trying to wake up and I can't wake myself up. Or there's always the dreams where you wake yourself up in your dream, but you're really actually asleep.
Yeah, that's like Inception
They'll
stuff,
dream they
man.
have to go to the bathroom. They'll realize that they need to wake up. They dream that they woke up and wet the bed anyway because they only dreamt that they woke up. So that's another level of it. Okay, so
my mind is hurting right now. This is like literally Inception
presence.
stuff.
What happens is during our normal, when we hear stuff like books and all this esoteric bullshit about presence and awakening, a spiritual awakening.
Woo-woo.
I know we don't take that literally, but what if it's fucking literal? And that's the experience I had.
Wow.
But then we can fall back asleep again a little bit. And then we're kind of half awake and falling back asleep, but we're never 100% awake because there's like degrees of it, right? And when I'm talking about awake, I'm talking about just presence only. So when we're lost in thought, we're asleep. And when we're not thinking, we're awake. When we're present. And anytime the mind is actually creating an emotional scenario, we're thinking. And a little bit of meditation will bring us a little bit of presence, but there's not fruit. We don't reap the rewards. The first 857th time that you meditate, it sucks. It's the 858th time. And all of a sudden, everything shifts because we start to build presence power. And so meditation is basically remaining present. That's why people talk about focusing on breathing, because breathing gives you an inner sensation. You can feel your ribs expand and contract. That's happening now. It's not happening yesterday or tomorrow. So we use breath it's not necessary, but we can use breath as a beginner to anchor presence in. So if we're thinking about our breathing, we're present, sort of. It's like the beginning of presence because we're thinking.
So then what I'm hearing is there are different degrees of being present.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Just like there's different degrees of dreaming.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I did tease in today's episode was the scientific aspects of it. Now, you did talk about theta waves. I would like to talk through that. Now, do theta waves have something to do with the degrees of presence?
Yes. It's a more relaxed brainwave state. So it's between awake and asleep. So the thinking, obsessive, fight or flight, survival brain, it doesn't happen in a theta brainwave state. That happens kind of like when you're
Amped up.
mm-hmm.
As
and
in the
really
tiger
identified
chase.
with thinking. But presence is the only place where there's anything that's alive. So, okay, I'll get today. Today we were, no, it was yesterday. We were driving in the car, and my boyfriend, who's like 100, starts singing this song from the 30s or 40s, and I knew the song, so I started singing it with him. And it's a happy song. And I immediately choked up and couldn't sing because it was a song my grandma used to sing in the kitchen around the house. That's how I knew the song. That's past. So there's a thread to my past that everything about that song, I could hear Steve singing it, and I could hear myself badly singing it too. And it was on the way to the beach. Same day right before I did the meditation. I'm singing in the car, and poor Spencer was in the back seat listening to these two idiot people singing in the car. And then suddenly I started crying. So my kid, just whatever sort of a parent you are, you guys, please trust me. So anyway, but that was past. So I have these big pulls to the past. Well, the past is dead. And so is my beautiful grandmother. So when I think about her, there's a lot of pain. When I think about anything in my past, there's kind of wistful longing, people that I've known, times we've had together, even the best times, but they're dead. The time frame is dead. So when we latch into past, we can't, even though that was a wonderful day back in whatever year that was, right? We can't get our cup filled because it's dead. It happened, it's gone. And we're clutching onto a memory. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to be thinking about our memories and happy, but the other is also true, the future. So the future is fraught with peril. Oh,
but wait, before we talk about the future, let's still talk about the past.
Okay.
Now, what came up for me just then of what you were saying is, okay, I get the nostalgia, right? Because that's what that was, nostalgia.
Yeah.
Now, this is my come from. Now, let's talk through this, because I think a lot of people out there may have this similar view of the past. Nostalgia may be okay. Thinking of the past, maybe even learning from the past could be okay. However, where it hinders your results in your life, when it hinders your relationships, when it is a burden to you living your life to the fullest, then I make up, as I like to say, that the past, it does not serve you. And being present to kind of move to
and there's the state of being is critical, but it includes all our learning. So we don't have to go into the past to find what we learned from the past. We have that in the present. So imagine that you go through your life and you're a toddler and you learn to walk. You don't have to go back and remember the day you learned to walk forward. You've collected that information, you've learned those lessons, and they're in here, okay? And that's true of everything. So you don't even relationship lessons and financial lessons and stuff. We don't have to go back and think, oh yeah, I went bankrupt in 1988. I need to think about how not to do that again. No, we learned that in 1988. We don't need to learn that again. That we don't need to think about it. It's how to manage our money wisely is in us. As a result of that lesson, so we don't have to spend any present. If you think about where is your physical body, this is a big deal. Right now, my physical body is sitting here. And in this present moment, I'm speaking with you. And in this present moment, if you're watching this video, just notice the room you're in. Notice the outfit. Notice whether you're wearing shoes or not. I'm not wearing shoes. You know, notice the sounds in the room. Wherever your physical body is, your physical body is alive. Other shit is alive. I'm looking at that bush over there out my window. It's alive, which is amazing given that it's growing in my yard and I haven't killed it yet, but it's alive. You know, there's a dog sleeping right back there on a pillow.
And a chicken out.
Hypno hound. There's a chicken over there. Right now, in this moment, everything is alive. The whole world is alive. But if I think about yesterday, all that is dead. It just shows up as memory. I can remember the day at the beach when I made the video on presence, but it's dead. That's not right now. Right now is right now. And my physical body is right now. My physical body is not out on the beach in San Pedro. My physical body is in this room with this crazy painted mural thing because I'm out of my mind and insane and paint everything that isn't nailed down. Okay, this is where I am. This is where life is happening. But when we're thinking about our dead grandmother, which I do tend to think about a lot, I must admit, and I think about all the good times we had, and I think about her singing that song in the kitchen. I know my cousin's going to want to know what song. Would you like to swing on a star?
Carry moonbeams.
In a
Yeah.
jar.
That's
that was the song
Pinocchio.
that made me lose
That's from
my shit.
Pinocchio, right? I think. Tinkerbell or something.
So no, that was When You Wish Upon a Star, make no difference who you are. That was a different song. The stars were involved.
See, I'm not good at song trivia.
But when I think about the past, it's painful. But when I meditate in the present expands. Now, this is a thing that our heads can't wrap around, but I get. But it happens if we can drop enough thinking. The present expands. And it includes the past and the future that aren't actually past and future.
The present expands. Talk a bit through that. What does that mean by the present expands?
I don't understand it. I think you could read Stephen Hawking, and if you were a physicist and you understood that space-time has certain properties that things aren't as they appear. Time, if you're looking at time, I don't know what he says about time, but
if you just want to go through the concept of it,
doesn't exist other than in a human sapient perception of time.
If there was no
we're
such
dreaming
thing as time,
the whole thing, and when we stop dreaming by being present, the fact that it's peaceful and fulfilling are no accidents. We get back everybody we ever loved.
Wow,
if you got that
big knowledge. That is some big knowledge right there.
If you got that, you wouldn't think meditation was fucking boring anymore, would you? You would be like, okay, I'm not thinking about shit anymore. But the problem is we're doing it out of grief and wanting. And now we've got an intention and a thought going in, and that doesn't work. So it's like a catch-22, you see. But all you have to, and I've noticed that people who teach presence and spiritual teachers, when they speak of that, they start to slap labels on it and call it things. And that's not good. That will lead to a dead end. Like people that I love dearly, who are incredibly intuitive, will start to slap labels on things and call, you know, we'll talk about past lives, for example. But that's not exactly it. Yes and no. Yes, it's a past life, but there isn't really a past. So if there's this oneness of all things, and this is not something I've studied. We don't want to study spirituality and turn it into one more fundamentalist religion. We want to have an experience of it. We don't want somebody like me to sit there and tell you what it's like. But there's a portal, like in Harry Potter. There's a portal and it's called presence. And it's the simplest thing in the world. And you don't need to look for any of the stuff I just said. Matter of fact, I probably just put a whole bunch of people, threw them way back on their journey. I didn't mean to. But try to forget everything I just said about getting the dead people back. All aliveness is in the present moment. And if energy never dies, and the only place you can find aliveness is in the present moment. You see where I'm going with this? If things change form and we don't have a preconceived idea of it's going to look a certain way, I'm going to have a vision of a certain person. If we even take that away and even take an expectation off of that, there's something ineffable that goes on. And when it doesn't happen in meditation, it's because we're not present enough. We're still thinking. And the only way to do it is to practice.
Yes. And look, I just want to point this out. This is some very, very deep stuff. Now, obviously, there's more as we add to it. There's more to that. However, I believe what you're saying, what Stephen Hawking's, and I have heard that before, of what he's exactly saying. And he's even said it in a bigger type of context of you become the universe.
Yes.
You're the universe. Yes. Because
yes.
Well, yeah. And so that being said,
who you are in your essence and the present moment are not a separable thing. So we talk about becoming present, but that language doesn't do that, because we don't become. If I drop my thinking mind, I've had this happen for people in hypnosis all the time. When I hypnotize them, some people will lose sensation in their extremities, and they'll get out of hypnosis and they'll be like, I can't move. I couldn't move my hands for a minute, or, you know, my hands got tingly. Mm-hmm. And in the yoga community, we would call that pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses that begins. It's part of transcendental experience. And I don't remember where I was going with that. But when we're looking at just, there's something it's like an experience of feeling, rather than something that someone teaches you and you either believe or don't believe. You don't want to have any beliefs about anything. And that's why I've parted ways with the spiritual community, because it's a bunch of people who very well intentioned get together and begin to define and label a spiritual experience. And that takes it, and now we're going to start up another religion. That's how religions get started. Someone had an experience where they were able to find stillness, and they tried to articulate that the best way they knew how. And then it was open to interpretation. and it became a mental concept, and it lost its life, it lost its essence. So it's just being here, being now, being present, you know, feeling the clothing on your own skin.
Well said. And again, a very, very deep topic, super deep topic. And obviously, I would believe that this is one that we're going to, build on. More HypnoTalks on this topic for sure. I'm sure we opened up tons of questions because these are big.
Yeah.
These are big questions. And what you just said about the spiritual community, when it becomes attached to an outcome or how something is supposed to be, that's no different than what is not being present, in my opinion. That's what
I used to do it too. I used to get I always feel my intuition is at its most heightened when I'm helping a client. And it was very easy to say, oh, my guides are telling me this, they're telling me this. That's labeling an experience I'm having. And now I've flattened the experience. Can I take the label off and not even say guides?
Right.
What happens when I help people is I'm present. That's all.
Yeah. You're tapped in to whatever it is. Yeah, I get it. For sure.
But if I start to label it, it takes it and it just reduces it, and the dimensionality of it collapses.
True.
Into something not quite as vibrant or meaningful or profound.
Well said. Okay. We could go on for the next, I think, 6 hours, maybe 7 hours, maybe 12 hours on this topic. This is a big topic.
112 hours, if you're me.
Yeah. We could easily do 12, maybe 14. We do love to leave people with tips. Now, a beginning person in the meditation, they're beginning. And, we talked about breath, concentrate on breath. Mm-hmm. Let's give somebody who's they've been doing meditation for quite some time, but they just can't get there. What would be one tip you would give somebody who is an expert in meditation to kick it to the next level?
I would say consistency. I would say don't put a time limit on it every day. Like I have this thing of 30 minutes. There have been days where I've meditated for an hour. There have been days when I meditated for 10 minutes, but the key is consistency. And the reason is people do great when they're meditating. It's just then 5 minutes after they're done meditating, they forget to be continuously meditating. So the next step is to be present when you're speaking with other people, which takes you into the present moment more deeply, because it's much easier to be present when there's no distractions. But to be present when there are distractions, especially during the distractions, is the goal. You can also have an affirmation when you wake up in the morning that my intention is to be present today, not only in my meditation, but from time to time, more and more during the course of my day, especially during moments of stress. And put that in as an intention in the morning. Then, now you're not meditating on that. We don't meditate on stuff. That's content. We want to empty out all content so that when something that historically triggers us, we go, oh, good, here's a stressful moment. I'm going to be present. That doesn't mean we don't think about it. It just means we're present with it. We're just present with it. Hey, HypnoHound.
HypnoHound was very present right there. Hi, HypnoHound.
Presently trying to protect Mama from burglars.
Are
you famous dog now?
You're on HypnoTalk, HypnoDog. I think HypnoDog asked a question, but I don't have my dog translator on. Google is not quite there yet, so we'll get it.
But the paradigm shift, and now I'm saying a spiritual thing, it's a label, but there's a paradigm shift that we step into when we're present during times of stress that renders us almost it's like being on a different level of a video game. It's not the same. We have literally transcended something, and the options that become available to us are different options. That means the pile of bills will shift when you shift. And suddenly what was a problem has now become an opportunity, and there are a lot more possibilities for solutions. But we need to stop dreaming about all the what ifs and yeah buts, because those are future and past. What ifs are future, and yeah buts are yeah, but that happened in the 80s. It could happen again if I don't X. We don't need to continuously activate problems in order to retain the learnings, because you don't have to remember that you have to think about being a toddler in order to remember how to walk. You learned it. It's done. So then we want to just drop the labels, become present. And we could go into become the observer and blah, 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 blah. But all of that is confusing to people. That would be, because that's me trying to put a label on something that can't be labeled. All you have to do is show up and be present and stop thinking. And to stop thinking isn't easy at first. That's why you need the practice of meditation, which fixes all your problems. So my goal is to put myself out of business. Because if everybody was present, they wouldn't need a hypnotherapist. But one thing a hypnotherapist can do is anchor in a sense of presence, a reminder about presence, a feeling of presence, so that there can be an experiential, having had that experience of presence and feeling how wonderful that is, that begins to grow and get stronger. So presence becomes easier and easier and easier, but it won't unless you meditate. And if you say you can't meditate, come see me, and we'll start it through hypnotherapy, which you can do because it's guided.
That is what I was going to suggest. That is a great way to train or to get yourself into it, is to go and see you. You will walk people through and get them into this theta wave state, so that they get to serve themselves in the future.
Yeah.
I like
and
it.
A lot of times people will need help with their actual problem, their quote unquote problem, because it's so real life. How is presence going to fix that problem? And I can help you with that.
Very cool. So, in summation, I've been running a ticker on the bottom. Live now, basically, live life now.
It's the only time you're actually alive. Like physically, you're not alive tomorrow until it's tomorrow. And when
you're not alive in the past either.
Yeah.
Well, you might have been alive in the past, but
you were alive in the past, but it was now.
You're not.
The past was now. You were alive. When the past is the past, you're not. Now you're just remembering it. So it's like, it reminds me of dead people walking the earth and needing to tap into live people for their energy. We've seen movies about that. We've heard mediums will speak about that.
Yes.
So, and I'm just using that as an image. I don't care if you believe that, don't believe that. I don't know what I believe, but if you think about that, we don't want to be a dead person going and having to tap into a memory in order to feel loved and alive.
Yes, well said. That's it.
Because all that we've ever loved is now. And when we get present enough, we can actually get that in a label-less and fulfilling way. And it comes as experientially. That's why the trainings you and I did all those years ago worked, because they were experiential.
It's not just reading a book.
Yeah.
You're living it. You're living through it. You're getting rid of mom and dad issues. All that stuff. Oh my God.
Or for me, you get more committed to your mom dad issues and be able to sign up over your bed and throw darts at it every day.
Now, yes, then you understand how do I get to be attached even more?
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you again for really going deep on this, Janna. This is really, really good stuff. And again, this could be another 14 hours of this type of, I guess, thread. The thread of presence. And there are books, there are works, philosophies built on presence, meditation, Eastern religion based on presence. So it's a big topic. It's a big topic. So we, I believe we're wrapping up, but I want to hear one final thought from you, Ms. Janna, on, we gave somebody some tips, like big users tips, but presence, what next week? Give somebody a challenge on presence. I love to give stretches and challenges, but what would you challenge someone to do? Very simply, what they can do to, I guess, experience presence.
I want, for me, if a really challenging, two things. One is commit to meditating 10 minutes a day. That's easy. Number two, take the shittiest moment of your day. Have it be when you're absolutely at your wit's end, desperate, freaking out, pissed off, anxious, whatever it is. And take a moment and just tell yourself, can I be present with this? And it will feel like fucking food poisoning. The challenge is to notice without thinking where it hits you in your body. And you'll either feel it, your throat tense, or your stomach tight, or you'll feel a physical sensation. Just begin to notice the sensation. Don't make it go away. You can't. If you try to make it go away, it'll get worse. If you try to think your way out of it, it'll get worse. But just even for 30 seconds, you might even be in the midst of arguing with your husband or your wife. They won't know you're doing this. Give them an extra 30 seconds of rant. Well, you just feel it in your body and just watch your reaction. And ask yourself, can I be present with this? And you won't want to be. You'll want to fix them so that you can feel better. That doesn't work. So perfect. You want to give yourself enough love and care that you're going to sit with yourself. Hold your own hand, so to speak, and watch the inner sensation. Just watch it.
See what happens.
Just breathe. See if you can stop creating reaction conversation in your head while they're yelling at you. You're not making up what you're going to say in rebuttal. You're just present. Can you be present with them? Like totally, I'm imagining it's an arguing people, but it could be any moment of your life. It could be when you're dreading making a phone call or anything like that.
Janna, we live in Los Angeles. Somebody is going to cut you off in traffic.
Yeah. And shoot your 6-year-old, which I heard on the news. That happened, just not very far from my house. So that goes in a suggestion, and we start to think about all the people with all the 6-year-olds and when our kids were 6 and how horrible the world is and all this. And now we're not present. You see, now we're in a dystopian future. And we're trying to be right about the dystopian future that's coming. And we're creating now a dystopian future. And we're not seeing our bougainvillea right there that's blooming like crazy and is the most beautiful thing in the world, all because we had a thought about a 6-year-old. So we can send love in the present moment. We can look at that bougainvillea and send love to that 6-year-old and his family. And then we can get off it, because we're here to make a difference now in this moment, with this bougainvillea, with that hypno-hound, with that friend.
Yep.
Now.
You can't bring the dead back. Well, I have not seen that yet.
No, although I've come pretty damn close a couple of times.
Ooh, now that's teasing for future HypnoTalk. I love that. Janna brings people back from the dead. Okay. Thank you for joining me on this.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's a good teaser. That would be a great teaser. So that being said, thank you out there for watching and listening, and put your results of your challenges. Send Janna a note on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yeah. I
or
want
leave a
all the
comment
angry
down here.
comments about how the hell am I supposed to pay my bills through presents, you crazy woman. I want to hear those so that I can tell you how.
Yeah, exactly.
Right about presents.
Right.
There's no problem presents can't fix. It's more
I'll say
practical than practical stuff.
So that, hey, I'm not arguing with that. Follow Janna, subscribe below, follow everything she does. That's my advice to you. I'm attached to that.
Don't paint your house crazy. It's really hard to sell when you do that. But okay.
That was a previous conversation, but yes, I make up though that you could probably sell your house pretty easily because you're a very talented painter as well. I just found this out. Janna's a very talented painter. So that being said, tune in every Sunday at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. And we are going to launch on Tuesday our clubhouse room, our HypnoTalk clubhouse room at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's what, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're not on Clubhouse, reach out to me or Janna. We'll send you some invites so you can come to our room, our clubhouse,
and talk to us. And we don't even need to look good, you guys, because nobody can see us. It's all just audio.
It's just this. It's just audio. It's just this and this. That's it. Okay, Janna, thank you so much. Until next time, peace.
Peace.